After receiving some money, I bought a lakeside cabin. I should have listened to the warnings. The cabin came with history and more. I'm writing this so that people will know what happened and what drove me to do what I did. I'm writing this as a warning so that no one else will follow in my footsteps. It began last week. I had recently inherited some money. Not I never have to work again money, but still a good amount. It was from my aunt on my father's side. I had really only ever met her a couple of times when I was a kid. I hadn't had any contact with her after my father died when I was in my 20s, even though she was my last living relative. I instantly knew what I wanted to spend it on. I had always wanted a small cabin in the woods where I could flee the everyday stress, the city, all the shit that we all have to deal with on a daily basis. A place just for me where I could kick back by the fire and just recharge my batteries. I wouldn't say that I'm an introvert. I just enjoy my own company more than spending time with others. That's all. So, a couple of weeks ago, I'm browsing the internet for cabins not too far away from where I live, and my curiosity was piqued by an ad on one of the all websites with houses for sale. A small one story wooden cabin situated right by a medium or large lake in the middle of the woods. Not another house for miles in any direction, and only about a 2 hour drive from my home. It looked exactly like the cabin I have always seen in my mind whenever I have been daydreaming about having my own place like that. Now, it did seem to be a bit run down, but the price was almost too good to be true. I just had to see this place with my own eyes. Curiously enough, even though they have posted an ad for this place online, I couldn't seem to find a website for the agency. Only a landline phone number on the ad itself. I called the agency to set up a meeting with their agent. After a few unanswered signals, a man answered. He sounded out of breath, like he had rushed to answer the phone. We decided that I was going to drive up to their office on Tuesday last week and meet up with him. And together we were going to drive down to the cabin to have a look. So come Tuesday, I am super excited already and feeling good about this place. 2 minutes after I got off work, I am in my car, typing in the address to the agency in my GPS, and off I go. The office was located in a small town not too far from the cabin, about 30 minutes by car. The town itself was your typical small community with small shops and stores that looked like they had been owned by the same families for generations. A small church, kids playing in their yards with the fallen autumn leaves on the ground. It seemed to be a quiet, peaceful place to live. A typical everybody knows, everybody plays. The not so gentle GPS voice abruptly advised me that I was coming up to my destination in a couple of minutes. I took a turn and saw the sign for the agency on the other side of the street. I turned my car around at the next intersection, and when I came up to the place, a man was standing outside with a briefcase, constantly checking his watch, clearly waiting for someone to arrive. I parked my car and go over to the agency when the man looked over my way. "You are here for the cabin, right?" he said with a classic sales smile on his face. "The cabin by the lake?" Yes, I am," I replied. "All right, well, let's get going." he said while shaking my hand firmly, before we lose the last daylight. He got into his car that was parked down the street and asked me to follow him in my car. I noticed that he seemed a bit stressed, his face a bit pale, with beads of sweat on his forehead, like he was coming down with something. We drove out of a small town and was soon driving on twisting and turning small roads through the woods. The trees were exploding in autumn colors, yellow, orange, red. It was mesmerizing, like driving through an oil painting. After driving for about 30-40 minutes in this gorgeous scenery, the agent's car took a sharp turn down a small dirt road. If you didn't know it was there, you probably never would have seen it. It was overgrown with high grass and was a bumpy ride. Luckily, we only had to drive down it for about 10 minutes. Then I saw it, the cabin. It was, from what I could see, all what I had hoped for and more. I couldn't wait to go inside and check it out. I was so excited. I parked my car next to his and got out. So here we are, he said. Indeed, God, what a beautiful place, I whispered to myself while looking around. The cabin looked just like in the ad, a small dark wooden house right next to the lake. Was the agent hiding something? Was there any mystery behind the cabin? Let us see in the next part.